Hey guys, this is Deception for Too Long. Today I'm going to talk about the Defiant map pack, announced for Halo Reach a few days ago. Okay, so this new map pack called the Defiant map pack is going to be released in March 2011, and it has three new maps for Halo Reach. Two of them are competitive multiplayer, so the run-of-the-mill regular multiplayer maps like what we had in the last map pack, but one of them is Firefight. I'm really excited about that personally because I really enjoy Firefight. I do a lot of score attacks, stuff like that, so I'm going to really love having some new Firefight content. Now, what's different about these maps are that they're actually not made by Bungie. Now, I was kind of uneasy when I heard that, but don't worry, these maps are made by Certain Infinity, who are like known for making great map packs. They've made map packs for Call of Duty World at War. They made one of the later map packs for Halo 2. They actually made two of the maps in the new map pack for Call of Duty Black Ops. So as far as making maps, these guys have experience. And that experience shows. These maps look amazing, in my opinion. I think like the art style looks great. It looks like nothing we've seen in the other maps. I think that the design looks fresh, and personally I'm kind of excited to see what a different developer would do as far as making competitive maps for Halo. Because we've seen a bunch of Bungie maps, but it's going to be cool to see a bunch of maps made by somebody that is not Bungie, somebody that has their own take to multiplayer, and it looks like they have some new stuff that's going to make it fun and fresh. Now, time for the not-so-fun details. It's going to cost 800 Microsoft points. So yeah, that is 800 points for basically three maps. But in my opinion, it's well worth it. Some people may value their dollar differently, but I think three new maps, three new what look like good maps that you'll probably play quite a bit and make the multiplayer longevity of the game is really worth 800 points. So like when you think about it, 800 points, which is about $10 or $12, is a lot less than other games where like World of Warcraft I'd pay for about $15 a month. I mean, you get a lot of entertainment for $10 or $12 for almost 4 months, and I'm okay with that. Okay, let's look at the maps one by one, starting with Unearthed. Now this is the new Firefight map, and from the looks of it, it looks pretty big. If I was to describe it, I've probably put it as a mix between High Ground and Boneyard. Now I'm really excited about that because I really liked High Ground. I kind of liked the whole attack and defend feature and how there was kind of a choke point of the stronghold, and you could decide like who was winning the match or who was controlling it by who was up there and who was attacking. For those who care, according to the fiction of the game, it's like a titanium mine where they use the titanium from there for like ships and for guns and all that jazz. And that's about it. It's pretty simple, you know, a whole we have the resources, they want to get rid of it type of thing. As far as gameplay goes, it looks like it'd really be good for 4-person. I don't know about 1 person defending off that entire base, but with 4 people you could probably have like 1 person at each corner. And that could be really fun. They have a rocket hog, which is always fun. And as far as I know, there wasn't a rocket hog in too many of the Firefight maps that came with the disc. As far as it goes, it looks like this map's really cool. And seeing as it's one of the first Firefight maps that's been produced by a non-Bungie designer, it looks like it has something new to offer, and I'm excited to play it. Okay, so the next map we're going to look at is Condemned. This looks like another space map. It kind of reminds me of Anchor 9, but one of the things I really love is when you look out the windows, you see a nice picture of Reach glass. It's kind of depressing, but it's also visually amazing, because you really don't see too many pictures like that. As far as gameplay looks, it looks like a lot different than Anchor 9, though. Anchor 9 kind of reminded me of The Pit, and designers referred to it when they were talking about it too. But this one, if I was to describe it to any previous map, I'd probably say it reminds me of Orbital the most, though it looks pretty unique. One thing I noticed about this map is, just like the other space maps in Halo Reach, they have a space area that has low gravity. But it actually looks pretty unique to the other ones as far as it's not out in space, or at least not completely. Anchor 9, when you went out into space, you were taking a chance that you could get knocked off or fall off somehow. This one, it looks more like a hangar that is just opened up. This looks different from the other maps because it actually has it within the map and you don't have to go out of the way. On Zealot, you have to go on those gravel lifts that take you to the top of the map where you're completely exposed and it really doesn't flow well with the rest of the map. Anchor 9, once again, you have to go out to the side, not always people out there. Sometimes you can see people trying to catch a quick ride around though, but this one, it's actually part of the map. It's in the middle. Hopefully there will be more fights within there so we can get some more of that low gravity feel, because that was really a fun thing when first got the game. Once again, the fiction of this map, if anybody cares too much, looks like it's just another orbital ship, a communications one, pretty important one. But otherwise, not much to it. You know, there's not going to be a whole backstory. I mean, I never really catch myself looking too much into the backstory of a map, so yeah. But for this map, I'm predicting tight corners, so look out for shotguns or swords if there are any on the map. And just a lot of fun. A lot of grenades bouncing off the wall, a lot of choke points being held. Just the type of gameplay we got from Orbital. The last map, and for me personally, the best map, or the map I'm most excited for, is Highland. Now this one looks freaking huge. It looks like we can expect some awesome big team battle games from this. And as far as the design goes, it looks like it goes back to just the fundamentals. You know, there's a blue base, there's a red base, and you're in this area for some reason where you have to fight each other. It looks like they have a lot of cool areas to hide, cool areas to ride around on vehicles. There's kind of a building in the middle where you can hide out if you don't want to get butt fucked by the vehicles. The bases look really fleshed out. I mean, they're not too small, as in there aren't too many places to hide in them, or you can't hide from vehicles without vehicles be outside camping. But they're not too huge, as in, wow, people can go in there easily and not be noticed. So it looks, design-wise, really, really good. Since I've been doing this for most of the maps, if I had to compare it to anything, it kind of reminds me of Valhalla or Blood Gulch, as far as the two sides go. I also think I see a little bit of Avalanche in there, just because I remember there being a central area. That's really debatable, though. Maybe not as much Avalanche. So the story that came up for this one is apparently it's one of the places where the Spartans trained, a top secret military place, you know, that type of stuff. And it actually looks like that, so it makes sense. Cool. I really hope I get to play on this map a lot, personally, though. When it all comes down to it, one thing I really hope about this map pack is that Bungie does a better job at implementing it within the regular rotation of matchmaking. I know it's pretty hard for them to come up with a seamless matchmaking environment where you don't have to wait too long to get in matches, and that if they made it so you only got matched up with people that had those maps, it would take forever. But it would be really cool if I could get the maps that I paid for in regular matchmaking without having to go to a specific playlist for it. It'd be really cool if I could go to the Invasion playlist and actually play on Breakpoint when I paid for it and not have to deal with the only two maps they have for Invasion. I mean, that's one thing that I really felt they didn't do that well in Halo 3. And Halo 2, they were fine because they could give the maps away for free in the end. But Microsoft kind of has them on a chokehold. I guess that's what you get when you team up with a big giant like that. And I guess that's a reason to stay away from people like that. Luckily, Bungie's pretty much free with their new partnership with Activision. But that's a different topic for later. So now, this really isn't too fun, but I'm going to just talk about some of the speculation I've heard and kind of my reactions to that. I really am not going to go too far into it, but I thought I'd have my word. One thing I've heard is people complaining because they say they want remakes. I've heard people say they want a remake of Lockout or saying they want a remake of Hang 'em High or something like that. Personally, I'm glad they're not just remaking maps. Once Reach came out, it was so easy for people to make remakes in Forge. So there's really no point to do that unless you are the type of person that needs the art style or whatever you get from it. Otherwise, I'd rather have new maps that have a chance at becoming a classic. And that's especially if I'm going to pay for maps. I really would rather not have to pay for maps that I could go into other games and play, or maps that, in all honesty, I could just find variants for in Forge World already. That'd be kind of an insult to the people that are buying the maps. Now, don't get me wrong, I did like some of the remakes in Halo 3. Like, I loved the remake of Blockout and the remake of Sidewinder, Avalanche. In all honesty, you could barely call that a remake. It'd probably be better described as a reimagination than anything. Another thing I've heard is people asking for another Forge World. Okay, in all honesty, I don't think we need another Forge World. I haven't forged too much, but from what I've seen, there is plenty of stuff to work with. Bungie created a monster with Forge World. I mean, they even called it Forge World. Think about the other maps they made for forging. What'd they call them? Sandbox, Foundry. This one was just called fucking Forge World. They didn't even bother to give it a creative name because they knew that the whole point of it was to make Forge maps. It was so fucking badass that they fundamentally made it so you could make a perfect Blood Gulch, or basically perfect. It's kind of like when they first announced Forge World, people were like,
I'm a big baby. I want a map editor with terrain and skins.
It's kind of like, take what you get and be happy. Forge World can last us much, much longer. I'm still surprised by some of the things I see. And something we have to remember is that Forge is only limited by the imagination of the designers. People can probably keep making maps on this for another 2 or 3 years. Okay, 2 or 3 years, a little ridiculous, I take that back. But still, they can go on, and the only thing that's going to limit them, what they make on that map, is what they can come up with, in my opinion at least. Another thing you have to take in consideration when you request another Forge map is how much development that takes. When you take in consideration what Forge World is, it's about 3-4 maps put together. If they were to do something like Forge World or the next Forge World, that'd probably just be a map pack altogether, and that would probably not please everybody. That's kind of what they did with Tempest. They made it so it had the same palette that you had in Forge World, but it wasn't everything and it wasn't the same size. But overall, I think we've got plenty of Forge World we can still see, and I'm really not feeling a need for a new one yet. Another complaint I've seen is that they want DLC for campaign. You know what? I'm not going to disagree with that. That'd be pretty cool to get DLC for campaign. The only problem, or probably one of the main reasons we're not going to see it, is one of the things that's really keeping this game alive is the multiplayer. I mean, Halo has a great campaign, and a lot of people really enjoy it, and personally, I'm one of those people that enjoys the canon and the fiction of it too. But most people just play multiplayer, and most people are still playing multiplayer. If you come out with a map pack, that can last people for another good 4 or 5 months at least, probably more. But if you come out with a campaign, that might be played a few weeks for some, or for most people. You also have to take in consideration how much development time that takes for Bungie. When they come up with campaign, it's a lot harder than multiplayer because they've got to come up with a story, they need to come up with encounters, they have to bug test it. It's just another whole big can of worms that they have to go through. And then you take into consideration, Bungie is working on a new game right now, a game not related to Halo, and let me just get that out there, I'm excited to see what they're working on. I'm excited to see what they do with something that's not related to Halo, and I would rather see them work on a non-Halo related thing than see them come out with DLC for an old game like that. So that's a wrap for this video. If you guys agree with me, disagree, let me know. Like I've said before, please keep it respectful. I don't want monkey shit fights going on in my comments, unless they actually have something to back their statements up with. I'd like to thank OssHaloPlays.net for the gameplay that I posted up with this. It really would have been boring if I would have looped the trailer for 10 minutes, so thanks a lot for that. I'll probably link his channel or website down in the description. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and if you like this, subscribe. I'll try and keep videos up consistently. See you guys later.